And I'm gonna pull. How y'all doing? We're gonna do a little Q&A today. And hey, how you doing, Tim? Feel free to chime in. Tim is a district expert today. And we are gonna be live on Facebook and on Garage Sale Nation. And it's kind of a chance to, I see Ivan in here. I'm gonna pull him in here in just a second to answer some questions that I've been getting a lot lately. This is Commons. If you're watching somewhere else, shopcommons.net. And it's a new marketplace we started just over a month ago, and it is really, really being successful. And I want to talk to some folks and allow you guys to ask me some questions. Can everybody hear me okay? I was going to go outside. It's a beautiful day. Trees, flowers, all that, but my neighbor just started mowing his grass. So, all right, let me get Ivan in here if I can. And maybe I'll get, depending on how this goes, I might even pull in some other folks later. Let's see here. Let me find Ivan. And he is here to answer some questions as well. You would think I knew everything about my own site, but I don't. There we go. Ivan the Machine. All right, Ivan, I think you've been invited, so we'll see if you pop in here in a second. Ivan the Machine, Tim says. How you doing, Greek0007? I do have a little, and Ivan might have to tell me how to do this, but a little experiment today for all you folks listening out there. Today I'm going to put up a number 3 as a super cheap deal. I'm going to put a bunch of them out there like as buy it now. It's just for you guys dropping in today. And Ivan, let me know. I don't see your comments here. It says you got 22 seconds left to respond. Hey, look at this guy. American Arbitrage. Aren't you supposed to be working today, brother? We're so checking out. Jeez. There's those 3 degrees going to work. American Arbitrage. Very funny. All right, Ivan, there he is, just in the nick of time. What, you had to get your hair all fixed and straight to get in here?
Oh, it was a total mess, man. I actually started brewing a pot of coffee 9 minutes ago, and apparently my coffee brewer takes 4 minutes.
Well, I got my coffee, but I'm almost done with mine today. I also have at the very end of this, I might, depending on, hey, how you doing, Mary? Hope you're doing well. I was hoping somebody had a show today over on Knickknacks, and I was like, I thought it was you. I'm like, I hope we're not going on when she is. But anyway, shout out from AVA, Tyson. Okay, that's Virginia, right? Tyson.
How are you
Tyson,
doing,
that's up by Tim.
Merry
I'm doing
weather.
well. If you don't know Ivan, this is Ivan. He works with District, and I don't know, Ivan. You introduce yourself. You're just Ivan to me. You're the guy who puts out fires and helps me with stuff.
Can everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you. I think so.
All right. I saw someone say no
sound. If you'd like no sound, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, cool. Yep, okay. I can hear you. So I just wanted to make sure because so this is funny for me. This is my first time. Normally when I'm going live, I got my earpods on if I'm co-hosting, and I left them in my wife's car. So they're somewhere around the University of Nebraska Medical Center right now.
By the way, you can click on Ivan if you want him to be bigger, if you want to.
Yep. So thanks for having me. It's so fun to see so many people too that I've only talked to online. So my name is Ivan. A lot of people know me as Watch the Breaks. For over a decade, I've been a talking head in the sports card world. And so if we turn around here and look at my desk, it's covered. Can anyone else relate?
I don't know how many card people in here. I know Tim can relate.
Well, I just mean in general. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
Replace this with CDs, with vinyl, with plushies.
Speaking of vinyl, that's me. That may be what I jump in here at the very end just to do the first auction sale like this on Commons. But I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh, no, all good. But so I got very lucky that I met the team that founded District before they launched. And in talking with them, I was in sales previously, and I brought up that side of it. How are you going to expand? And I absolutely love the idea. As somebody that had a community of sports card people already, it's like, well, we go on those other apps, and then they want us to go there just to take the community and then spread the community around everybody that's theirs. And these guys pitched me, they said, well, what if there was a place where you could have your own marketplace and you
Yeah.
bring the community in to your marketplace, and then they can go live, they can sell, they can auction. So they get all those same tools, but they're not being solicited by people that you don't trust. And so that's how I got involved. I was like, I got to be part of this. And I fought to get this job as community lead at District. So now I'm the guy that helps out with onboarding communities. So whether that's giving Kevin,
Yeah.
you know, advice and answers, or helping you sellers.
Let me jump in for just a second here because I want to make a couple
Go
of
ahead.
points to kind of piggyback up on what you just said. This is, because obviously we have dibdit.com, me and Dave and Carrie, and Tim has One Stop Shop and all these different communities. But I was just thinking to myself one day, I'm like, what are the folks that really are part of my community? They're all resellers, or a great deal of them. I know we're on Facebook right now. We're not actually on Commonwealth Picker or Commonwealth Flipper YouTube right now. I kind of reserve those channels, but maybe we will one day. And the community, all these people in here, I see Amy in here, they're resellers. I said, there's a space missing here, and that is reseller to reseller, a reseller community. And essentially that's what I wanted this to be. And this is what we've come up with. We're constantly changing it, but I just can't thank you guys enough. This has been unbelievably successful in just over a month. And just to give you an idea, and I'll give you an outline, and most of you know this if you're on here, but the idea behind it is that there are some resellers that from time to time or all the time source way too much, and they have to find outlets to sell in order to focus on what they sell. And there you go. And that has more and more become me over the last couple of years, and it was never me in the past. And so I was like, well, and then I get messages from folks saying, I can't find inventory. I can't do whatever. I'm like, maybe we can put these two communities together here. They're one community, but two groups of people together. And it's worked unbelievably well. At this point, literally half of the items that have been listed on Commons have sold. Half of them. That is, I don't know about you, Ivan, but for the rest of these market, and that's all statically. It's crazy. And so even in its infancy, it's really working well. And I hope to get it better and better and better for both buyers and sellers. That's why we've kept the fees low, and I mean, very low in my opinion, 8%, but not even on the shipping portion. And there's all kinds of stuff like that. So it's really, really working for some sellers, and it's working for buyers. And there are some sellers who basically, there's a few people who have listed 30 things, and everything but one or two things have sold. And the best things, if you look at this marketplace, are selling very quickly. So I kind of wanted to tell some folks who are in here selling or want to sell, the kind of some best practices on what to do and what's working. I also want to answer questions about applications because I have denied more than I have accepted, and I don't want people to get offended. But I want people to understand and maybe reapply with a different mindset, or having said a few things in the application that may help. So by the way, this is open for questions. I have a list. I'm sure Ivan wants to say some things, but it is open for questions. So if you have a question, you can, there you go. I sold 4 lots today. You did, Tim?
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
saw that,
check
Tim.
that out. Or was it yesterday? I thought you sold a bunch. Was it today? Very cool. But it's been, can you counter offers? Ivan, I'll let you take that. My answer is, I
Yep.
think you, yep, go ahead.
Yep, absolutely. That's a simple one. Give us hard questions also, since I'm here. But yeah, simple one. You offers, they can counter your counter. Another thing that's really interesting, that's a feature I don't think a lot of people are using yet, but it's highly effective. The people that have figured it out are very effectively. You can like listings. That sends a notification to the owner that you liked it, and they can send an offer. So if you're
Yep.
kind of like, hey, let me see if this person is paying attention, you can go like a listing, and maybe the owner will be motivated to send an offer because they just want to get it moved.
I'll speak for myself here, Ivan, for my listings, because almost everything we've posted is sold. Now I'm selling. There's Chernock right there. He's a pro as well, and he's got a little line in here because I trust this guy a ton, and he's sold. He gives good reseller lots. So one thing that I've done is everything I post on here, they're things I just want gone. I want them gone. It's because they're hampering what I'm doing in other parts of my business. So if it's on here, it's ready to sell. And so if I get somebody who likes something, they're almost immediately getting an offer on it. And my goal is to have the majority of things I list sell in one day and to get rid of it, which means it's going to be a lower price. There's no doubt about it, but it's gone quickly. And those are the kind of sellers that I'm looking to get on this marketplace. People that maybe just bought a storage unit. You know, you may used to have outlets. You may have, a lot of you who do storage units go and donate a ton of it right away to to a charity shop or something. And that's fine. You can do that. But this may be, there you go. Turnout says he's taking a couple of reasonable options or offers. And this may be an option for you to quickly sell things. You might have to sell at a discount rate, but I think a lot of folks are willing to do that because it's going to other resellers. I've got so many incredible messages, not just from buyers or from sellers, but from buyers who are saying, hey, this is a godsend for me. I can no longer source, and they'll give me, their medical issues, their whatever, and they're sourcing off of here. Now, if you look at a lot of the listings, I'll be honest right here, a lot of the listings that are left, there's a bunch of good ones, but there's some that are like, it's going to take the right buyer to buy it. Maybe not even somebody who sells statically on eBay, but it would take somebody who has an antique booth. I got a message from a guy who runs an old gas station, who has a tool section in his gas station. And he bought up a bunch of stuff and he just hangs it in his gas station because he got it so cheap he can make money on it. There's all kinds of different people who are buying on this thing. And so sometimes I've even put things on them like, who would want this? And somebody wanted it and somebody bought it because the price was right. And those may take a little while to sell, but most of the people who are buying on here are checking the recently listed items. And there was one that wasn't on here for 10 minutes yesterday and it sold just like that. And I've missed out on some. I go and I see all the solds and I'm like, how did I miss that lot? There's a sweet VHS, sealed VHS one. I think it was Vintage Sport Flips brought it. And there was good money in that one. And I just am trying to recruit the right people to sell so that the buyers have something to buy that they can flip independently on different marketplaces or wherever they're selling. And I think that that's kind of the goal of this. All right, we got any questions? Hard to have enough like items, but a theme like new games, toys, okay. The answer is yes. So they don't have to be identical items. They don't have to, like, I'm going to probably do this just for fun. Somebody's going to get a stack of rock records in a little bit. If it sells for $1, it sells for $1. But that's all the same item, right? Obviously, they're different records, but they can be, I think somebody listed, I'm trying to think of some good examples. Like I listed a toy box. It was a vintage wind-up toy box, and some of them weren't vintage, but it was just giant box of toys. And that would be appropriate. What we don't want to see is your death pile thrown in a box. So I don't want to see T-shirts and baseball cards and cassette tapes and whatever. That's not what we're looking for.
The way the USPS does their found mail lots. You know that.
So
it is funny though, Kevin, because you said the D.
Said the what?
You said the D word.
Death pile.
And it's actually in the community guidelines. I think you did say, like, we don't want your death pile. But the interesting thing that I'm seeing, and it might be worth a little conversation around, is depending on your death pile and the price of your death pile, it could, who knows who wants phone cords, right? So as long as you have it organized, it's worth posting, and you have the right price, it's worth posting because you don't know who does actually want that.
I actually sold a box of phone cords, nothing but phone cords, and somebody bought it within a day and a half. And my only assumption is this is somebody who probably sells phones and always needs those replacements. I'm waiting for somebody to post a giant box of AV cables for all my VCRs that I test and sell, right? If I can get them dirt cheap. So it's not just, things you could sell off individually on eBay. This is all things wholesale that any reseller might want to sell in any reselling marketplace. There's a lot of Amazon sellers on here buying up media. I'm not an Amazon seller. and then taking that media and shipping it off on Amazon FBA. So there's all kinds of folks. I'm missing some questions here. I'm sorry. We're gonna if we don't hit some of them when we go
Well,
past. I see Death Pile Picker talking about
so
Android again. I
yeah,
know.
I'll
I know.
bring up
It's
Android in a
coming, bro.
second, but
Okay.
I want to touch on one other thing because I get excited about the community aspect. You know, the technical stuff we can all solve, but
Mom
Mama,
of One. I'm gonna get to your question in a second.
Mama of One. I read it, Mama Phone. Mama of One. That's actually something I wanted to touch on too. What I love about all of our district communities is there are a ton of people out there that are part of the community that follow for sports cards or follow just for fun and watching. And they would never go through the whole process of becoming a full time reseller, but they have a few things they want to move. And that's exactly what this is about. It's an easy place to get approved to sell, to create a few listings easily, and actually just casually resell
To
some
keep
things.
those people from donating it to the Goodwill, so we get it.
Exactly. Like it's a win-win. Whatever your motivation may be, I just love it because like we see this a ton in sports cards. There's people that they don't want to go live 3 times a week and build up a following, but once every 3 months they want to move some stuff so they can buy some other stuff, and that's an absolutely great way to do it.
So
So
yes, and that was part of the thought process when I started this marketplace. Was I get messages from people all the time because I'm on social media. Thank you, Mom. Um, I'm on social media, so people say, "Hey, I'm not a reseller, but I watch your shows. You know, I got all this. You want to buy it?" And it's like, I'm like, I got to go through a process, send an email, send and do whatever. And like, where do you live? Oh, Kansas. I'm like, well, that's not gonna. I can't just pull up the trailer to Kansas. I suppose I could, but this is the kind of thing where I literally can tell people, hey, if you want to sell this. I did this yesterday. Somebody in Pittsburgh sent me a message, and it was so much I had to send a message to somebody up there saying, hey, you go check it out. But if it was a small amount, just join this marketplace, sell it on here. You're going to have a sale to a reseller that might give you 20-30% of what they're going to make on it, something like that. But it's gone all in one shot. And so this is kind of the ideas behind it. There's a lot of people who can benefit from shopcommons.net. And the answer to your question is yes, absolutely, Mom of 192. And there's a point in here from Joe Deals earlier. Keep in mind the shipping. So you put the shipping price in there. That's a reasonable price. Remember, you're not getting fees on the shipping portion of it. So you want to do shipping on there as opposed to free shipping. Might not want me to say that, but I'm telling people anyways. I want this to be a cheap marketplace for sellers, so that buyers can get enough meat on the bone to do something with it. And
mhm.
that's a fine line to cross. And shipping is one of those things. So I encourage people to ask questions in there. Um, well, that's what Johnny says. Well, I would say that I don't agree with that. There may be some. There may be some, and you're exactly right. I've looked at some lots. Matter of fact, I've taken some lots down. But you're thinking about it only from an eBay reseller mindset. So, and a lot of what's left is what you're seeing. But if you're on here, I'm telling you, there's deals. I bought one. I've bought 2 deals on here, and I've seen about 10 that I wanted, and I've only bought 2 because I want some folks to get some good deals. And on the 2 lots that I've bought, my ROI is incredible. And there's one person on here that showed me their listed items from the lot that they bought. It would blow your mind. It would blow your mind how much money they're going to make on that lot. It's because they're on there looking at those newly listed items. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to say you're wrong, but you're right, unless there's other factors in place, and a lot of times there are.
I mean, it's
Some of the deals don't last long, and that's
yeah,
exactly
it's
the
tough
truth.
because we actually had this debate in another marketplace recently where an item sold, um, such a big item sold that I published it to my sports card audience, and then people were like, "Well, yeah, but I don't see that deal anymore." And it's like, yeah, because that particular card sold. So it's a little tough.
Speaking of
You're
deals, since
right.
we're this far in, can I put this thing up here? Can I move this thing to
Oh
stage?
yeah,
I
move
told
that.
you I'd put a deal for some folks, and if it's a static listing, so if you've never bought anything before, code Commonwealth get you $5 off. You get one of these.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so one thing that, I mean, I know Kevin and I talk about almost daily is how do we expand the sellers so that there are more of those deals up there? Um, how do we expand who's doing this? One idea I have, if any of you know of any good donation centers, or probably not Goodwill because they're corporate, but any local thrift stores, let them know about this as a place to move stuff in bulk, because a lot of times they have a warehouse behind the store. They have more than they even know.
Right. Goodwill has those mechanisms, right? The bin stores and whatever. But sometimes mom and pops get giant donations that they can't process.
Yeah.
And it may be something that may be helpful for them as well. So, and Tim's got a couple good points in here. Look, a lot of times, a lot of these sales are coming through a negotiation. Contact that buyer and just say, and a lot of times it's like this: Hey, I see your shipping on this is like $25, because I've sold some big boxes, and you kind of got to guard against that thing going to Anchorage, Alaska, or whatever. And I've had people who are like, Hey, I'm in North Carolina, could you drop the price on this item, $15, because this isn't going to cost you this much to ship it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, of course, that's the whole point. Move stuff and to get them something that they need and or want. And so that communication part on here it's way easier than say on an eBay. And you can post in the what are you looking for section. I've seen people post things, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And then, all the resellers out there get scrambling like, oh my gosh, I just bought a giant lot of this. Or while they're out there picking something they wouldn't have picked up before, but they see somebody in the chat that's looking for X, that's niched down to, like, I don't like to deal with ephemera. I don't even like to deal with records. But if I find a giant bulk deal,
Mm-hmm.
that I know Joe on here is going to want, then I'm going to grab it and I'm going to post it. I'm going to make a little bit of money really quick, and they're going to have a good bunch of stuff to sell. So, getting to know people. Here's one to get to know right there. CCCL Finds. She's been buying a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Yeah.
I know what you're looking for, and I'm looking for it.
It's using the social side of a social network in a good way. There's so many people that have negative experiences and so many negatives that come out from social media that sometimes we forget. It's really cool being able to unite now, and somebody that can't find that item in the Pacific Northwest, and we've got a ton of it here, we can work these things out together by letting each other know what to look
Hey,
for.
can I jump in and say this real quick? Because I'm
Yeah.
getting applications here. I just want to say this. I've rejected more than I've accepted, and I'm trying to accept a level, because you want the buyers to. You don't want more sellers than buyers, so it's a process. So don't be afraid to reapply. But if you're going to apply, let me tell you what you need to do. Here's your hack, since you're listening today, and you may have already been rejected. So don't get mad at me. I'm sorry, but we're trying to do this in a responsible way here. And I'll just also say that there's some people who have been accepted who may not have that ability to resell in the future for various reasons, not necessarily punitive, but possibly, because we're trying to protect this thing for both buyers and sellers. When you apply, don't apply until you've read the thread in the what is it? I guess they're called threads, right? The what's it called? Seller guidelines. And there's this seller guidelines. Read through the whole thing. There's a video attached that's on Garage Sale Nation. Just type it if you're on YouTube, Garage Sale Nation Commons, and you'll find that video. Watch that video of me talking, or you could even say you were here for this live and not watch that video. And say that in the application. I've read through the entirety of the seller guidelines, and I have watched this live, or watched that video, or watched the video on Reseller Information Network where we talked about it extensively. And then do two more things. Tell me why you think you're a good fit to be a seller, because being a good fit to be a seller in here means you have bulk items that you cannot move quickly or do not want to move quickly. Maybe you put in there, hey, I'm not selling on eBay anymore. I'm getting out of the business. I want to sell it all off in big giant lots. I'm going to prove that seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because that's the kind of person we want to provide a good enough deal for some things to buyers. and then put the type of lots, specific types of things that you're going to sell. Because if we're overwhelmed with people posting, just run of the mill junk VHS in here, then, and you're saying, hey, I've got 8 million VHS, maybe we might not accept you at that time. So put the specific things that you may want to list if it's stuff that's selling. But if you don't put that you've read through those guidelines, we won't even review the application. So there's a hack. Now, if you've already put an application in here and you get rejected, go back and do that, and you can definitely do that. Beach by Repeats in here. You've been selling a few things lately too. Maybe I need to get on your podcast and promote it to your audience over there. Community guidelines and the video. You got it. You got it. And there is a couple things. I'll just say this really quick that irk me because it's just because I'm spending a ton of time going over applications. I'm spending a ton of time reviewing listings. One tag per listing, because that gives everybody a decent chance for visibility. You don't see the same item appear in the homepage 4 times. One tag and only one tag per listing. And every listing requires a video, every single one. Now, there's some issues with videos, I think, from some folks. So if you have an issue with doing that, Ivan may be able to help you out today. I've had success with doing shorter videos, like maybe 2 or 3 less than a minute videos. I've also, and Chernock, if you're still here, he loves to put a cover photo and then the video. I'm too lazy. I just want to do the video and get it done because the whole point is to get it sold, right? I don't know what's the best way to do it, but I can tell you that it's a requirement to have a video. And there are some listings on here that don't. And you look at them and it's like, okay, I see why you didn't do a video. It's 8 million of the exact same item. I got it. But it is still a requirement. So, and here's why. The fact that you can be on a video and you can talk to somebody, use that to your advantage. Because there you go. I do AI cover photo and multiple videos. I left. That's right. Very good. So for me, if I'm listening to the seller and he's telling, or him or her, and they're saying, hey, here's the issue on this hat. If you got 50 hats and you're taking pictures, you're not telling the whole story necessarily. You can't see the backside. How many pictures would you have to have for a giant lot like that? But if you have a video and you give a basic description, hey, this is a K-brand hat. This is foam's missing in this thing. Then there's a level of trust and you know what you're getting and there's no mystery about it. So that is one requirement. You don't have to put your face in the video. You don't even have to speak, but I would encourage you to speak because it adds a relationship part. In shot, there you go. A lot of people have over resolution videos and they're harder to load. So if you do have an editing app that can reduce the resolution, Mike's got a very good point. It makes it easier to load.
Yeah, there's a few sites you can actually use online for that too, just to minimize the listing without.
And by the way, I don't have to do any of that. My phone does it, and it's just I load it just like a picture. It's so easy. I can do a listing in no time. I mean, Bubba's fiance is doing most of my listings for this at this point, so you might find some good deals because she doesn't know what she's doing half the time. But that's good.
So, Kevin, this is all really awesome. And just for those, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, remember it's shopcommons.net. That's how you can get there. But we've avoided one elephant in the room, in the stream, which is that silly device that 50% of people have. Is now a good time to bring up our plans for Android?
Absolutely. Let's hear it. I stop hearing Death Pile Picker complain about
it. So I do want to talk about that head on, and I tease. It's not a silly device. It's a great device. I love Android users and respect Android users. And I love that they're passionate about it. So for Android, 95% of the site functions work on the web, on a computer. So if you're like me, I actually like using 10 fingers, not 2 fingers. So I do most of my stuff on the computer, and I actually like it much, much better, including our AI listing feature. I don't think we've really talked about that, but if you're on a desktop, AI can actually create your listing from your photo, and it's pretty accurate and easy.
All right. I'm going to let you talk about this, but I just want to remind some folks, and saying this to make sure I remember, and Chernock does this too, because Chernock sells using his social media. and your codes are important to bring better deals to your buyers and to give you money too. But I want to get to that point, but I want this first. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so as far as Android for an app goes, we have an Android app. The Android app right now is a live seller app. So if you do want to do a live sale, you can
Well,
do that
careful.
now.
We don't have live sales yet. We're talking about that too. But I hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw Death Pile asked about that specifically, so I did conflate some things. So we have that. That said, what we're doing as a company is we're troubleshooting all of the issues with that, with the live seller, the things that come up for them that they have problems with. Then we'll layer in the next feature. Death Pile, you should be able to schedule on there. We'll double check after this. But then we'll layer in the next feature, which is, creating listings and managing your seller dashboard. And then we'll layer in being able to be a buyer. But it's so much easier since we developed this giant ecosystem over the last 2 years. It's really tough to just build the whole thing and then deal with all the bugs that come in from every single aspect. So we're building it in layers. So we have a plan. It's on the roadmap. It's actively being worked on in a lot of ways. So that's the Android story. That said, you can watch live streams from your phone browser. You can bid on live streams and chat on live streams. So you could be watching this right now. It's just on Safari or Chrome.
Yep.
So it's just a little
Not
bit
the
different
app.
experience there. So.
Or you could do what I do, which, well, I've got like 3 or 4 phones that are just, they're not even, they're just hooked up to the internet. I just got an iPhone. If you have one laying around that you used to use, Dave, ADH Dave. So, and Mike, I know you have an Apple device.
Somewhere out there.
Anyway, but it's coming. And that's another reason that the fact that we're having this much success as sellers and buyers over here is really encouraging, considering there's a huge amount of the population that don't have easy access to it, and it's only going to grow. So I'm just super excited about how this is going so far. And I want to mention a few things before we talk about live selling and auction lots, because it's kind of an animal that's been missing from the space. You see a lot of folks on the other live platforms and stuff that are selling in bulk, but they're doing it as one-offs or small lots. And I want to be able to have people have giant boxes full of jeans and whatever, and to sell them live. They want them gone that day, and that'll give more deals. But there's a lot of issues with it. But I also want to talk about the magic comments a little bit, which, Chernock, it's got a nice following on Instagram. And so when he lists something on here, and he shared one of Mike's listings the other day, and it sold like that. And he puts the link in there. But every single seller has a code that you can share. And if the item is over $10, they get $5 off of the item. So there's another way to reduce the cost, and you get $5 credit to spend. And so you can customize that. I know Ivan's like, please don't say that, because I got to do all
absolutely.
this stuff.
Any sellers that want their code customized, just shoot me a DM on the site.
You got it. And if you don't, ask the buyer. If you've never bought anything before on District, go in there and ask the seller, what's your code? If they'll give you your code, you're going to get $5 off just like that. So if they give you an offer for $4 off or $2 off or whatever, and then they give you the code, you get that $5 off, and then they get $5 to spend. It's like, hey, it's awesome. So there's every single person has the ability to do what you see me do and all these other people do all the time on social media, and attract buyers with your own code that you get the money for. Now, you could use code Commonwealth if they don't give you a code, and you could still get it. But I'd rather them get it than me get it.
Yeah.
Except for Mike. Don't use Mike's code. Talk about magic comment for those who have social media. I know Amy's getting, doing really well on Instagram, for instance.
Yeah. So magic comments is a really fun system. In fact, if you're watching now after the fact, Kevin, you got to add some more inventory to that live chat special.
I know they all sold out. I don't know
so
if I want
magic
to.
comments works on static posts that you can post to Facebook or Instagram. And it also works in live streams to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube at 7 p.m. tonight and you want that live chat special that Kevin dropped, You can type claim and the number, and you'll still be able to check out that item after the fact. On social, the static posts, you can take any of your listings from the dashboard. You can click share with magic comments to Instagram, and it will give you an Instagram post that has the item, has a description of the item, has a little claim code and the cost. You can edit that to add more information. Just don't add hashtags up at the top, add them at the bottom so the claim code works. And a user on Instagram who sees it can type claim, and they will get DM'd on Instagram that item held in a cart for them to check out through Instagram, which is powerful because Instagram, you can't put links in a post, right? And so people say, how do I convert people from Instagram? Well, this is a direct way, and you don't have to do anything once you've done it. So I did this once, and I got on a plane, and it was Spirit Airlines because I was cheap that day, and there was no Wi-Fi. And I landed, and I had sold a $300 box of baseball cards while I was up in the air with no access to Wi-Fi. The buyer had claimed, had paid, boom, so easy. So it's a really cool system. It also works with stories, although for a story, you have to copy the code and paste it in the story that you make. So you could do a story sale where you just run items through your stories, and each one says claim, 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 and a buyer can stack them and check out all at once. Or
MJB, I see
buyers
your
can,
question. We'll get to it in a second. Go ahead.
yep, buyers can pick the different items that they want, or they could just buy one item and check it out directly. The other really cool thing about that is then they get invited to join the marketplace. If they aren't a user already, they're like, hey, do you want to create an account and be part of the marketplace? So it's a really cool way to bring them in. They can also use your code because the claim just takes them to the cart.
Yeah.
So you can publish this with your referral code and say, hey, this is already a sick priced reseller lot, and you can get $5 extra off with my code.
Yeah, and that's for first-time buyers. Items over $10, which almost everything's over $10 because it's a lot marketplace. Which brings me
Yeah.
to MJB's question. It's my brother's initials, by the way. This is some of the difficulty I've been having in talking to the district folks about it is I want bigger lots, right? Because the bigger the lot, the easier it is for somebody to make money on something, and they're clearing stuff out. But it's difficult to put a number because everything's so different, right? If you're selling, I don't want people coming on here and selling, 5 baseball cards. That's just dumb. But if they have 5 giant puffer polo jackets, that's a pretty big lot, right? And it's big size. And so it's difficult to come up with that number. I can tell you this, when I see a lot that doesn't look right, it doesn't look right. And when I see one that's what we want, it's what we want. So it's more about dealing with the sellers individually to try to get it right. Remember, you're trying to pass on value to somebody on the other end and move stuff quickly. A lot of folks who are selling smaller little lots they're trying to make money on stuff, and you might be better off just doing that somewhere else. So my suggestion is, if you're a typical picker type seller, not somebody who's doing cleanouts and buyouts and stuff like that, maybe you have a little section of your storage where you're building something for a lot. Like, okay, I'll buy these, but I don't really want to deal with X. And once this thing gets full, then I'm selling it off. So bigger is better. As far as the lots go, we've sold 3 lots. I haven't, but Picking and Punching, Jack's Treasure, since we've actually known that. I tell you about, we sold 17 things today over here. That's what I mean by the good stuff goes quickly. And the folks that aren't having sales, there's a few, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but there's a few sellers in here who have like 15 lots listed for a long, long time and none sold. There's an issue, right? It's not going to be good for you to sell over here because you're either asking too much. The whole point is to turn and burn stuff. Value. I always try to give deep discounts. I did 80 hats for $80 shipping yesterday. So,
Yeah.
I know a lot of folks down here at this antique mall that I'm at. They sell hats for $5 a piece, right? And they may not even be hats that you can get $8, $9 for on eBay, but those people down there can get $4 or $5 for them in an antique booth, and that might be your buyer for some of that stuff. Or there's a lot of people buying that are selling for like pop-up vintage shops. that are getting good enough deals here that they can sell them at pop-up vintage shops. So
Kind of
it's
funny, Kevin.
just
So
interesting.
I just jumped on the page because I was trying to find something with an auction. Because
Mm-hmm.
the one thing is, just keep in mind if your items aren't selling, it might be the price is an issue. But you don't necessarily have to be, like it's not like this is designed to lose money. It should be designed
No,
for people that find
that's what
lots.
I'm. Yeah, absolutely.
But
It's
as I
got
was
to
trying to
it's
find
got to
the
fit
listing,
both for it to succeed, and we're finding the sellers
yeah,
that it's really fitting their model, like Death Pile Picker that won't list anything.
yeah. Well, that's my fault. The Android app.
No, I mean won't list anything on eBay.
He just won't. He just lives on the death pile.
he just keeps buying.
Yeah. But I love what he just said. He mentioned someone said, "Where do I get support? I'm not the youngest. I'm not the most tech savvy. I don't have a 12-year-old, nephew to bring in." And Death Pile himself just said, "Just reach out to us within the community threads." That's exactly what those chat channels are there for, and that's another thing that distinguishes what we've built and what you, Kevin, are building with the community. Imagine wanting to sell something on another platform and messaging someone else who's selling it and saying, "Hey, how should I sell this item?" What are they going to say to you? They got two words for you, right? Whereas here, you've actually got a bunch of people that are all looking for success together. They're looking for better quality. They're looking for something better together. And so they're more than happy to say, "Oh, yeah, here's the best way to take pictures. Here's the best way to create a listing. Oh, you're hitting that button and nothing's happening. Here's tech support. They'll help you out with that." It's really, really cool.
I also
How,
like the idea of somebody else for me in my position here. Somebody else, yeah, I'm making some money on this, but there's somebody else who's doing what I'm doing for a living for extra money that that's going to benefit from it, and that's a part of it. Not asking people to do that for charity, but I feel a lot better. There's some things I would have taken and donated, but I knew they had enough value for somebody out there, and we just listed them on. I even took my wife's in here. Reagan had my daughter had a ton of clothes that she just grew out of. They're all the same size. They're all in good shape and whatever. I'm like, that'd be normally something we take down. I'm like, I'm just gonna put it on there super cheap. Boom, sold it like that because they were all clean. They're all the same size. And I know a reseller didn't buy them. They bought them for their daughter, which isn't really the point, but it kind of worked that way. So
yeah. I was going to say, just during this call, just during this live stream, Jack's Treasures.
mhm.
You don't follow Jack's Treasures on Commons. They've listed things during this live stream that have sold during this live stream. They're listing such lots at such pricing. I don't know where they're buying from, but that's a
Somebody
sell.
wanted some HEPA filters out there, 10 of them for $8.
Heck, I might just need that. Not even for resale.
And so reach out in the questions. If you have a doubt about listing an item or what category it should go in, I'll tell you this. Because a lot of people, we try not to have a ton of different tags because they don't all appear on that homepage. And so some people are having a hard time deciding where it goes. Like there's for cameras, they're putting it in electronics. It's not like a camera one. I don't want 50 categories. So just find the one that you think is the best and use it. Don't stress out about it. I'm not going to kick you off because you put it in the wrong thing. But if you continually put it in 6 different tags, yeah, you probably might get the boot because you're trying to get more visibility that way. So one tag per listing. But I wouldn't stress out about that. Are there any more questions that I'm missing? I'm sure there's a bunch. Let's see. Can I sell fresh meat at garage sale? That is a garage sale nation question over there. I wouldn't, but I've seen it. What are those trucks that pull up to Walmart? Like here, sell $1.99 a pound. There's really no limit to what you can sell here, other than the district guidelines themselves. And I don't know, I don't really want to go over that right now, but you can always ask those questions before you take the time. And that's what's beautiful about it. It doesn't take that much time to list this stuff. I've got stuff out there I know I could individually list on a different site, but I'm choosing not to at this point. I'm actually going through I'm out of space to hang clothes, and it's jacket listing season. And so what I'm doing is going through a lot of the old listings and creating bigger lots to make space for the new inventory, and and posting it on here. So there's a bunch of different ways to use this. I want to see if I can answer a few more questions today. Walk us through doing a test on computer, please.
Pamela, I'm not sure if you saw, you still need the phone for the live streaming.
Okay, let's talk about live streaming really quick, because this is something we've been really talking about. I don't want to take away from the success of the static selling. That's my goal number one. But I do want to add live for those folks who really want to move massive volume quickly. We're trying to develop guidelines for how we want it to work, because it may work a little bit different than this. In other words, we may allow a little bit more of mixing of things to create a reseller box, and we don't know exactly how we're going to do it. There's also a lot of issues. Some of the other marketplaces have started to see they're competing against themselves for their own audience. Is something I don't want to see either. So we're toying with the idea. I'll just be honest with you, because of the work that's going into this, of requiring a subscription to sell live, a monetary subscription. And it probably won't be much, but it will help weed out people that it'll incentivize people to learn exactly what we're looking for, and to build it at a certain pace, so that we just don't have just a free for all. And it really will target those people that are really, really exactly right for it. At the same time, not hampering the static seller. And the static selling is not ever going to have a fee that I can imagine attached to it. The fees are super cheap at 8% as it is. And like I said, that's only on the selling price, not on the the shipping price. So it's effectively half the fees or less than some of the other places, which is really good. So, but we want to preserve the static listings, and also, as this thing grows, allow people to get on here and like, hey, I just bought this storage unit. I've got 24 hours. I got to get it gone, and incentivize them. So I'm just putting that out there right now. You may see that. You may see, you don't have the ability to sell live, and this person does, and that'll just be a process as we go forward. So I'm just putting that out there now. You'll probably see it. Is the shipping generated through the site, or do we ship on our own? Good question. I'll answer this one. So you can ship it through the site. And Ivan might not want to hear this, but on larger items, I have found that if I go ship it on Pirate Ship, it's going to be a little cheaper sometimes. So I ship on Pirate Ship a lot, unless it's a small item. And of course, we're on Common, so they're big items. It gives you more options and stuff. And then you can do custom shipping. So when you go to ship on District, on Shop Commons, you hit custom, and then you copy the address, paste it into Pirate Ship, and then you can come over and put the tracking into District, so you don't have to ship on site. That was the other problem I had with the other big live selling site, is it's very difficult to do big quantities and provide yourself those options. And you have those options here. You can do giant lots of stuff. I mean, there have been we've shipped some giant boxes. And you can communicate with the person as well. You could say, hey, what's your address? Go type this in. And then you can figure out what price you want to give them based on where they live. So, communicate with those people who like your thing. Don't necessarily just say accept. Send them a message, look at where do you live? That'll determine the price on it.
Yeah, I was going to even piggyback on that. I don't mind if you use Pirate Ship. One advantage there also is UPS. We don't have an integration for UPS, but we don't mind if you use UPS. It's a pretty secure shipping system. So you can do that for an item that just works better there than USPS, right? Having that option available. So
FedEx, Media Mail, all that
the
stuff.
thing that's missing from that is the way it works is on the front end, you set the shipping charge for your items. So you don't just put in stuff and we say, here's the cost to the buyer, and we're going to take whatever difference there may be from that. You can set whether it's calculated shipping based on weight and size, or if you have something that's standardized. In trading cards, we all know what a single trading card is going to cost to ship and how little it's going to cost to add one more trading card. So we can set our prices at the right price for a buyer to incentivize them and also cover our handling. The other point on shipping that is really cool that I love is, let's say, people alternate. Some people want their stuff right away. Some items you sell are the type of thing you want right away. I sold a $100 baseball card. They want that tomorrow. If I'm selling a lot or a few lots of baseball cards, I can reach out to the buyer and say, hey, we have combined shipping. Do you want to check out what else I have before I package this up? And they could buy it the next morning and still get the combined shipping rate on their purchase, as long
You
as
buy
it's
it 3
before.
days later. If you're communicating with
Yeah,
people, it's how I do it on Dibdit. You could sell for a week on Dibdit and then ship one day,
yeah.
and they've got
So
that
especially if you're
combined
doing
shipping. It keeps
2 or 3
the
lives,
costs
once we
down.
have that function here, you're
Hey,
like, hey, this is my Monday live. If you want to wait until after my Wednesday live, it
yeah, I
would be
see Kent
combined
in here.
shipping and get them to
Kent
do that.
Daigle. We really reached the high note when we get Kent Daigle in there. All right. Hey, Joe made a good point. Joe Deals. And lives aren't here yet. Obviously, I'm live right now, but there's probably going to be restrictions and different things for lives. But co-hosting is a huge deal. I think in this marketplace, it will be even a bigger deal because you're dealing with massive lots. And so if you're co-hosting with somebody, you can sell your lot, your giant thing spread out on the table, and you go through every piece and do whatever, and then you sell it. And then the co-host can come on and do theirs while you get the next one ready. So I think co-hosting, not just here, but also on Dibdit or other marketplace, Dibdit.com, is becoming a big, big deal. It also makes for a much more entertaining show. And pre-listing your things is a big deal too. So I would also encourage folks who do have things that have been listed for a long time. I know there's one person who says, hey, if it doesn't sell in 30 days, it's gone. I'm taking it down because nobody wants that thing. And this thing is about moving things quickly. We're not going to set that in place just yet, but I can tell you um, there are things that are old that have been here there was something sold yesterday that was listed like day 2. So sometimes you do got to find the right person that can do it. But I usually almost by day mark the item down because if it's listed in here, it's because I want it gone. And so I might take $2 off a day until somebody jumps on that thing. And so there's that to think about too. How you doing, Mary? Co-hosting is a lot of fun. We had a blast. Speaking of, I think there's going to be some more coming up for Carrie on Dibdit this week and do some co-hosting over there. So it's really good.
It's also entertaining.
Yeah,
It's like
especially
the
with
buyer
people like Carrie.
experience and the out experience is just better that way. So
And Tim, man, I love those. I got to do some more co-hosting with Tim for sure.
yep.
So what's the question here? Mike's looking at stuff here. Did I miss a question? Shoot a question up here real quick.
So there was one, what is the time frame for shipping? And so district wide, the policy is in a timely manner. Kevin, do you have a specific stricture if there is communication?
No, I don't. Well, that's the key, right? And here's the deal: because we're in a community here in a marketplace, and I've sent some of you have got messages from me, and they might seem curt, to be honest with you, and they're not. It's just that I'm trying to deal with 60 of them, and so I'll just send a message out. But obviously, if we have the same issues with the same seller that's not shipping stuff out for a week or whatever, we're probably going to remove the seller eventually. So I would just be cautious and courteous and communicate, and you'll have no issue. And if you're a buyer who is having an issue with something, what would you suggest that their method be? Let's say that that they bought something and it's been 10 days and it doesn't even show. By the way, sometimes I've shipped stuff and it still doesn't say it's shipped. So sometimes it's arrived and it doesn't say it's shipped. But I just would communicate with folks and communicate with me. But Ivan, do you have anything to piggyback on that? I know you don't want 8 million messages, but that's kind of the beauty of this is you can deal with it, right? That's why he's here.
8 million messages. So district actually has dedicated support. So it's good when people handle things as community members between each other. And that's kind of a really cool example that district provides, that Commons gives you as a reseller. That said, absolutely, when you make an order, there's a button on the bottom of your orders on your profile. It says request help or order dispute. Use that. Even if it's something that, like maybe you contacted them and then they ghosted you after the second contact or something, let us know, because at least that way we can keep inventory of what's happening. So we appreciate you working stuff out between each other, but also we want to be able to keep tabs on it slightly, and we are ready to step in with our, district policies the moment you need help if there is that kind of issue.
And me in
So
my old school fashion, I have a little notebook where every time I get a message from somebody about a seller,
and
I write
if
it
I had a
down.
notebook,
I write it down. And once you get if you're getting 5 or 6 messages about the same person, there's an issue with the seller.
mhm,
And so that will be how you deal. That will be how I will deal with that stuff over time.
yeah.
But again, I'm a busy guy too, so I'm not sitting here promising I'm going to deal with every little issue
Well,
for
so no,
whatever. I'm
I
not.
actually
But
encourage you, like, Kevin is trying to do all the work of running this and building this. And so I encourage you, email support@district.net or use that order dispute button, because that's exactly what we'll do. We have spreadsheets instead of notepads. So then we can just go to Kevin and say, hey, there was this Mike guy, there was four calls
they've
against him for
they've
shipping.
done that, by the way. They will call me up and they'll ask me, and they'll be like, what do you know about this? And sometimes it might result in a seller, getting a timeout or removed
Yeah.
entirely or
Sometimes
whatever.
it just ends up resolving it faster though, because maybe the seller didn't see where you pinged them, but they see an email from us. So yeah, it's a positive step to reach out to district support for those things.
Pam, look at this. Pam wants to do side deals in here. If I get an offer and should I post, can we make this side deal or should we post it? Oh my goodness. Well, look, obviously we'd want you to post it if the connection was made on here. District is a business. I'm a business. I'm trying to do this where it helps everybody out. Um, so there's my answer.
I would go further and say it's not even about just the business side, although I definitely respect that. It is the fact. Remember, I've been in sports cards for like 14 years now. We provide that protection. Something goes slightly sideways and you did it on the platform, there's a button you can press and get support from us. And it's not just for the buyers. We fight chargebacks for the sellers. So somebody tries to do a chargeback or tries to get their money back without, giving the right information, we can fight that for you instead of you having to go and collect all of it. And we also offer seller protection in that if that happens, we will cover it if we end up losing the chargeback. To see the
Wow.
exact
There you
strictures
go. I
around
didn't
it.
know that.
But I told you on our last call, Kevin, there's so much that we don't get
And
to talk.
I don't want to discourage people from sending me a message in there because I've enjoyed doing that. But I can just tell you, as this thing grows and it's growing quickly, the messages are compounding, and I'm already dealing with all kinds of other. So, if you want to send me a message, send me a message. But I might also I would definitely also do that. So, because sometimes it might be days before I get to it. I
Yeah.
mean, right now I'm keeping up because I'm focused on it, but at some point I just won't be able to do it. By the way, I don't know. We'll keep talking for a few more minutes, but if there's any record people in here that want to get a good deal, let me know in the comments, and I've got these listed for $1. I'll show them all to you, and we'll sell them off today. And thanks to everybody who's bought one of those. I kept adding to them. We sold a bunch. It's a good deal down there. So we appreciate that. You don't need to, but I've never done that before where it pops up on Facebook and whatever, because it pops up on Facebook or Garage Sale Nation and people can buy it now or later. And then they become a member of the marketplace and then they might buy from you. And that's what my focus is right now, is trying to get good lots up there to bring in more and more buyers and to move stuff quickly for those who need to move it quickly.
Yeah. That's
How
awesome.
you find time for your family with everything you got, I don't know. I
He
haven't
employs
spoken to
them.
my family yet today, so they're all right there.
He
I
employs
do.
them.
We do. We do. My wife makes sure we do. She schedules beach trips every couple of weeks, right, babe? Oh my goodness. All right, albums maybe. I got a maybe. If I get a yes, then I don't care. I really don't care if they go. I got to get rid of them anyways. I'm gonna run. Let's run them right here, and they'll answer a few more questions. I see Bubba's fiance out there. She
You
might be
so
posting a
so
house
actually
right
so
now.
so Death Pile just pointed out twice. I like how he makes sure he's heard. But he pointed out you've got pre-bids, so you have to run it.
Oh,
So
I
that's
got
another
her. Okay.
feature we have the live is pre-bidding. So I really encourage people, once live is opened up in Commons, even though there's a lot of fun with the velocity that happens just in the live, but if you can schedule your live a day in advance, and if you can add any items that you think really deserve marketing, add them for pre-bids. You can have people bid that aren't even able to watch the stream because they got that link the day before.
You keep talking. I'm going to show the whole lot. I think there's 20 of them.
Yeah.
Zeppelin, Swan
Remember,
Song.
you have to
Keep
have a
talking.
video with the listing, Kevin. So you got to show what's in the live.
You got it.
Any
Keep
bands that
going.
you
So
listen to?
Blue Oyster Cult right here.
Oh, nice.
Now, obviously, guys, the condition of some of these is going to be rough. The records, actually, the 3 records I've shown so far are pretty good, but I think there's going to be some poor ones in here. Here's a Black Sabbath. This one's not in great shape. Black Sabbath, what'd I say? AC/DC. Although the record now, there's a few little. I'm not making any promises on these. Let's just say that.
Mhm.
Little marker here, poor condition, but I'll try and go through it. And if there's any questions in here, you kind of look like Michael Rappaport. I don't know. Is that a
I don't know if that's
compliment?
you or me.
Yeah, probably you. Dusty Box Treasures. How
Here's
do you ship
that's
a
like a
bundle like that? I have some I'd like to ship. So this is, you just find the right size box, cut it down. And I wouldn't ship these like I'd normally ship a record. If I sold it for $30 or something on eBay, I'd package it different. These would go all in a box, um, cut down, and they go media mail. And I'd ship it on Pirate Ship, and I'd attach the listing over there, or attach the tracking over there. This one's this one's in poor condition, y'all. That one's in poor condition. Jethro Tull,
Kevin, that would be a
Fleetwood
great
Mac.
video that you could do for YouTube content. How to
Already
ship
done it, Ivan.
records.
Already done it, Ivan.
Have you done it since Commons launched?
Hey, there's a little niche market right there. If you're gonna Bubba's fiance, yeah, I know. Yeah, a bunch of people just bought those. You can ship them all. She's like, this is a sweet album cover. I love it. It's in my cabin, but you can see somebody put tape over it or something.
Pamela mentions she was on a live previously and pre-bid on an item and the seller didn't seem to notice. Just so you know, that's something that we're working on, surfacing that even better so it's easier for a seller to run through their pre-bid items before the show ends. It's going to be easier very soon for that. So,
There you go.
but that's also a thing.
There's a
That
lot of people
feedback
pre-bidding
matters
on
to
this
us.
right
So
now.
keep giving us that feedback.
Again, just as you're bidding here, just know that some of these are in really poor. Like you can see, the album cover here is not great. There's some great records in here. Don't get me wrong, and there's some in good shape, but there's some that aren't. So just be aware of that. I don't want anybody to overpay for something. I want you to be able to. Hey, there's 2 media shop owners that buy in this marketplace. 2, and so they're selling in their own media shop and like brick and mortar.
That's cool.
And so that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. Santana, Wings. That one's in a little sleeve.
Not
Queen,
just
this one's in
Wings
poor
great.
condition. Sergeant Pepper's, but it's in really poor condition. I'm going to do that. And a Zeppelin in very poor condition with duct tape apparently on it. Foreigner, Fleetwood Mac, Led Zeppelin, very poor condition. Some of the early ones were in, oh, look at that. Sweet. If you got an 80s cave. Right there, Miami Vice. So there you go. We'll run it. Be nice to each other. Don't run it up too much. Leave some meat on the bone. I'll be honest with you. I'll be happy at that. So nobody needs to bid. New to you might grab it for that price. Kevin's rod is doing a great job. Ivan has no idea what that means. Got to watch the Trash to Cash podcast. Mr. D's. Tim knows. Tim knows. My computer's going to die if I don't plug it in here. All right. Are there any more questions that you guys would like us to discuss today? I think my list is taken care of. Just don't forget the application process to definitely put in there that you've gone through those seller guidelines. It gives you an idea. We're trying to keep guidelines as opposed to strict rules, but we're going to eventually have to kind of crack down on some of the folks who aren't in the spirit of what we're trying to do over there. Who grabbed that? Kismet won, and those are headed your way. So thank you for that very, very much.
Nice. That was fun.
And
I wish I had a lot to do too, so we could show them how on a stream both people can run a lot. But again, I don't think anybody here wants.
yeah, both people can run a lot, and it's all goes to your own accounts and your own shipping and all that stuff. It's so awesome. I love it very much. Thank you, Glitter Rich. Will there be a place I can rewatch this live? Sometimes I take these down off of Facebook, but I'll probably leave it up on Garage Sale Nation. So
Well,
Garage Sale
Kevin, it's
Nation
on
YouTube channel.
shopcommons.net.
Oh, you can watch it here live, actually. Yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
good point. We
Yeah.
could actually have people do that. No backdoor deals. You can watch on Shop Comments. Yeah, absolutely. We'll leave this one up here. So I'm excited about it, and I just want to say thank y'all for joining us. We've gone an hour, so really quick, any more questions before we let you go? And thank you to everybody who grabbed one of those number 3s today. They're headed your way. And, if you're a seller, the good lots are going quick, and I want it to look good for buyers coming in. So we got to continue to put up some good lots, and hopefully it continues. So we'll keep you updated on the live selling and what kind of structure we're going to create to make it easier on us and to make it what we want. So just doing our best. Hello. But we hope you have a good day. And if you're a picker out there, we hope your Saturday goes well. I hope your Sunday went well as well. I can't keep stuff in stock I don't list fast enough. That's true. There's a lot of people like that, Mike. I know Grams and Pops, boy, they've almost everything they've listed, they've sold. Almost everything. Mm-hmm. And so, those are CCL finds. Take care. All right. I'm ready to go, Ivan, unless you got anything.
No, just thank you so much. It was really fun to chat with a whole bunch of you. And I'm hopeful that one of these days I'll make it to 127, 100 mile. Which one should a newbie put on their calendar, Kevin? Of any of the events?
I'm not going to tell them because I don't want them there. I don't know.
Just for the social. It's actually, which one's the worst one for buying?
Go to
because that's the best one for social.
Go to Garage Sale Nation Facebook group, and you'll see a lot of the highway sales going on.
Okay,
check that out. I'll just say
cool, that. Awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
See ya.